January, February, March, and April, we had all the speakers that were going to speak in the churches come and address you and speak to you. And you can go out a full year and remember where we've come from. January, February, March, and April. We met some amazing pastors during that time.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, amazing pastors. Pastors who work full-time jobs, run to their church on Wednesday night, Sunday morning, probably take out the trash, clean the grounds, and do all that for their people. That's the kind of pastors that we have in this county. We didn't have women. Then in May, we went to the United Missionary Campgrounds out Randall. Those of you that were there, you had a different kind of lead. The speaker canceled at the last minute, and I spoke about how God brought my biological son to me after 43 years. That's the night that I told you what God had done in my life. And then June was our breakfast at Crossroads Baptist Church. Big room. All of you fellows brought food for CUOC. And that started an entire summer of collecting food for CUOC. Some of our guys, this team, they went out all summer long and put boxes in businesses throughout town, mainly on the north Fayetteville stretch there. And 5,000 or 6,000 pounds of food was brought into CUOC at the time when kids were out of school and hungry. Some of their parents full of dope and alcohol and their cupboards without food. School would feed them during the week, and when school's out, the cupboards go bare. Man, I'm telling you, every time you dropped $1 or $2 in the offering and brought those cans of food that morning, you blessed, I don't know how many families. You should stop and think about every time you take $1 or $2 out of your wallet and drop in this bucket. It certainly is not going to buy us cars and planes and trains. Man. It's going right back out to the folks in this community who are very needy. Oh yeah. Then came July at Freedom Life, and Ed Kilby told us all about Indonesia. He showed us all the pictures from where he was there. In August, we got blessed. We may have been the last group that John Pugh spoke to before he passed. Oh, man. I know you guys remember that.
Yeah.
101 years old, had traveled the world by himself, learned to fly in his 40s, deaf. Man, that was amazing. In September, we heard a man who made a mistake, drank so much one night, drove down the wrong side of the interstate, and I believe he killed 3 or 4 young men. And he stood and told that story to all of us. October, Dr. Brad Thomas is my doctor. And I asked him, I said, don't you say a word about overweight people. Dr. Thomas came and talked to us about our spiritual health. And then in November, one of our inmates, Adam McGee, preached it down. If you remember, First Christian in Ransom. And then December, we ended up at Northridge with Mr. Crowley from the prison, as he talked to us about maintaining our Christian life, as he works with all those 230-some inmates right there. We finished raising the money for the what used to be the pregnancy center. It's now Your Choices Randolph. You men supplied $1,000 in cards for young men who used to sit out in their car. They wouldn't even come into the building. They'd send their girlfriend or their wife in there. The men would be too afraid or too stubborn to go inside. Now, they're taking a gift card, putting gas in their car, and driving to a class. Because every $5 bill you stuck in the place. This group gave $150 to an outdoor prison event where Nikita Koloff came and absolutely blew those guys away. 50, 60 of those 220 inmates up there outside at the altar, oh my goodness, changed the whole course of that season for their prison.
That's right. Hallelujah.
I'll tell you. And then, fellas, this team paid $905 to rent a movie theater in November to show an awesome movie about football to the teenage football players from a couple of high schools here in our county. And the pastor who did the altar call with his eyes told us that about 25 or 30 of those young men out of 75 gave their life to Christ. This team recently gave $750 to the Rise Up Men's March that you're going to hear about. And I can't just tell this team how totally happy that I am about this past year. God is blessing you Spanish-speaking men. You're with us all the way up. You can't leave us. You're stuck. And we want you to bring your other friends to be a part of us until we grow so big we'll have to do something else. But God will give us the answers we need for that. We just need to get it. I love you guys.
Throughout the Old Testament, God has always had a remnant. So the Lord is not slow about His promise, as some people count slowness, but He is patient towards you, wanting that none should perish. Do you really believe that none should perish? Amen. So my hope is in the next few months that you men will go down there. We need to really pray. This whole thing is based on prayer. It really is. I mean, you know, Satan is very happy with prayerless programs, prayerless organizations, prayerless events, all that. He likes to see us spin our wheels out there. But if you want to shake the foundation of hell, you get on your knees. It's all about prayer. That's where the power comes from. I just hear it over and over. Believe me, our families and the ladies are crying out to us to do something. And, you know, that's just another impetus for this. Yes. But I hope what you'll do is if you're passed through downtown, you'll go down there and pray with me over that area. I mean, it's going to be a holy assembly. We're going to be on holy ground. And by the time this thing, the Lord's putting it all together, I'm just, believe me, for 5 years I have fought this, quite honestly. And the Lord just wouldn't turn me loose. He said, you know, you are going to do this. I said, well, how am I going to do this? You know how you're arguing with God? You don't get anywhere arguing with God, I can tell you that. The things are going real well. We do need your help. We've got, the Lord has provided, we've got about a $10,000 budget that we're trying to raise. We've raised about $2,600 through free will offerings, and a lot of the churches have really stepped up to help us. We needed $2,500 to do the deposit to get TC locked in. He charges $5,000 plus expenses to come, which is very reasonable for that caliber of speaker. Thank you guys for that. There's several churches that have contributed to it. We need to bathe everything that we do here in prayer, because that's where the power comes.